Hello, everybody. Today we're going to explore how to plan your longer 6 to 10 page research paper in a way that won't make it so intimidating to write. I know that a lot of students will start off with a blank page, have no clue on how to put a really long college level scholarly paper like this together, and they have block. They just freeze. They have no idea how to even get started. I've been there when I was a young student. I had the same problem. And what I found was that when you write a long document, that it's much easier to break it up into shorter sections, work on one segment at a time, and then put them all together, sort of like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle at the end of the semester when you've written all of these shorter sections. And even, a 2 page section can be kind of intimidating, but at least it's manageable. So that's what we're doing today is planning your longer research paper, and I have some examples to show you so you can figure it out. And then you can experiment around and try it yourself and get some feedback from me about how the planning of this long 6 to 10 page research paper might come together. I'm going to share the screen with you, and we're going to take a look at these examples that I have, the very same examples on my screen that should be on your screen. So here's example number one. Okay, this student has an idea that children with attention deficit disorder do not have to take heavy drugs, which is the go-to prescription by many doctors, are like, just fill your kids up with drugs and send them to school, and then we'll deal with the ADD problem. Well, it turns out a lot of parents have discovered there's different ways to do that, and many doctors have too. So this student started off with a research question: how can I best help my child who has been diagnosed with ADD without giving this child a lot of heavy prescription drugs? The thesis for the overall 6 to 10 page research paper was: a variety of less drastic alternatives are available to parents who have a child diagnosed with ADD before they resort to using prescription drugs. Now, to get a paper like this started, we'll probably need to define what ADD is. Notice it's not ADHD, which has the word hyperactivity in it. We can distinguish between the two, ADD and ADHD, in this definition paper. And we can also clarify that, this is partially a physical condition, maybe partially a mental condition. It's something that needs to be diagnosed properly. It's not just a kid who is agitated in school. Not every kid who won't pay attention in class has ADD. And so for the purposes of this study, in this research paper, we're going to define ADD as. Now, the definition paper, your second paper in this class, is a really great way to get started with the thinking writing process, learning how to use the library, learning MLA style, bringing quotes in, kind of a baby step towards writing the longer paper. Now, the third paper that this student proposed to write is going to be one of the 2 page sections in that research paper. But before the students started to write that, they had to think, what will the different 3 page sections be? There's a lot of different ways of approaching this. One is just think of them as chapters in the longer paper, okay? Discrete 2 page chapters, and each one, you can call those chapters, can be a sub-argument, and a sub-argument is really just a reason to agree with the overall thesis. Now, what's our thesis? That we don't need prescription drugs. Here's some reasons to agree with that. One is that diet is often a factor in ADD cases. We're going to write 2 pages to show that just by changing the diet, you can help your child, okay? Another 2 page chapter to support your idea we don't need prescription drugs is music therapy can be used, okay? Music therapy has been shown to be effective in dealing with ADD cases. And another 2 page section for that longer research paper will be that exercise can help with ADD. So in other words, the mother is thinking, I can change my child's diet, I can experiment with music therapy, or not just experiment, but find a licensed qualified music therapist, and I can work with the child to get more exercise so we don't have to pump the child up with drugs. Okay, now to get started on that longer paper, the student is going to write a standalone 2 page argument essay about how diet is often a factor in ADD cases, okay? That is one of the two-page sub-arguments in the longer paper, but it can also stand as a two-page paper, shorter paper, just arguing that one point. Later, that two-page paper can be put into the longer research paper. Does that make sense? I hope so. I'll give you another example, but I do want to point out this section in red down here. Please note this proposed point of essay number 3 is exactly the same as one of the sub-arguments, okay? You should not go off and start a brand new idea for your sub-argument. It's okay to propose, in fact, it's desirable to propose 3 two-page sub-arguments, and one of those is going to be paper number 3 for this course. Another thing, a warning, is that you really don't want paper number 3 to be too close to your overall thesis. And I see students trying to do that a lot, where they get into paper number 3 and they try to argue the whole thing that children do not need drugs to deal with ADD. Well, that's for the whole paper. And we're going to break it down into smaller segments about why they don't need drugs, okay? Reasons to agree with the bigger paper thesis, okay? Smaller sub-argument to agree with the bigger overall argument. If that's confusing, go back and read the example again, rewind the tape. There's no tape. Okay, go back to the beginning of this digital video, watch my explanation again and read through it, and then read this second example, which is, you know, a variation on the same idea. So this student has kind of a clever idea. The question, the overall research question would be, how is it best, how does a person best deal with frequent headaches, maybe migraines? Certainly there are people who have a lot of headaches and are trying to figure out why they have them and how they can get rid of them, right? And this clever idea, headaches are most commonly caused by user error, okay? That's kind of a joke with computers. You know, a lot of times you have a computer problem and you think there's something wrong with the software, and the guy in the tech department comes to you and says, no, it's user error. You just don't know how to use the software program. So you're making the joke, right? That your body is sort of like a computer. It's user error, that you're causing your own headaches. And so for paper number 2, a definition paper, they're going to define what they mean by user error, okay? And that's going to get the paper started. It's kind of a fun idea. It was just a little bit of a sense of humor built into that one. Okay, then the student is going to break down the longer 6 to 10 page research paper to argue several different two-page sections, sub-arguments, to support this idea that headaches are caused by user error. One two-page section will argue that a lack of sleep can cause headaches. Follow my cursor here. A second one, a two-page section, will be about how caffeine can cause headaches. And a third one can be a two-page section that will argue that lack of exercise can cause headaches, okay? So this student is proposing for paper number 3 in this course. It will develop the first sub-argument about, it looks like it's the second sub-argument. This has to be, this will be corrected by the time you see it. The idea that caffeine can cause headaches, okay? You take one of those sub-arguments and develop it. And so her thesis for paper number 3 was, sellers of caffeine, especially merchants such as Starbucks, should put a warning on the packaging stating that overuse can cause headaches and other health problems. So the idea is that the student is, again, breaking off a two-page section of the longer research paper that says that headaches are caused by user error. I'm going to write that two-page argument section for paper number 3, and then later on we'll write the other two-page sections, and then they'll all come together like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle to go into the longer research paper, and they'll all come together at the end of the semester as one long 6 to 10 page document that you wrote one section at a time. Again, please notice this section in red. The main point of essay number 3 is exactly the same as one of the sub-arguments in your overall plan. Don't start a new one. And again, this warning at the bottom, it's very common to propose a third essay that is too close to the overall thesis of the research paper, you don't want to do that, okay? And then again, I mentioned this because it's so important. The main point of your third essay should be exactly the same as one of your proposed sub-arguments for the research paper. So here's what I'd like you to do. Experiment around. It's not going to be fixed in stone, and you can send me the idea, post it on the discussion thread, kick it around, get some feedback from me, maybe even one of the team teachers at the Writing Center. And planning your longer research paper is going to save you a lot of time. It may seem like a lot of work, may seem like it's time consuming now, but actually an hour spent now can save you 6 to 10 hours later if you're struggling with writing a research paper that just feels so disorganized. And this process will lead you to a very organized research paper where you make introduction, sub-argument 1, sub-argument 2, sub-argument 3, a nice conclusion at the end, and it'll be very easy for your teacher and any other reader of your research paper to follow your logic. If you have any questions at all, watch the video again, read the examples again, try your own, and then don't hesitate to ask the teacher or your team teacher at the Writing Center for some feedback to help you with the planning, okay? Good luck and have some fun with it. If you approach this the right way, if you have selected a topic that you really care about, this can be fun and rewarding and validating, okay? Use this as a way to develop your critical thinking skills, and think of this. This is a technique that you can use with every research paper that you have in college beyond this course. You're not doing it just for Professor Burko, just for this one paper. You're developing a strategy that you can use in every course you take beyond the English department. And believe me, no matter what your academic major is, you are going to be asked to write really long, substantial research papers in every discipline where you take a course. And so this is how you learn how to do it.